All right, welcome to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel, and today's special guest is Aaron Pearson. Aaron, how are you?
Hey, way above average. How are you, Chris?
I love that positive attitude. That's something my uncle used to would say, something like that. I'm doing amazing or better than average. I love it. You've been around for a long time. I've seen you. You've even been on a podcast or two just with multiple different people, but you and I have never sat down one-on-one to go through your journey and just to see how you started running. And you've done some really cool things. And one of the things, and I'll just mention it, is you ran PR of, I believe, 235 and some change. Is that right?
CIM,
Yeah.
yes. The goal was 234 and change, and I just
Oh,
found out. I didn't even realize that my official results were 235.02. Pretty close.
so close. Yeah. And that was really cool because you had Maddie, Grace, and Melanie, and Jennifer Pope, and Eric Bretl, and a bunch of other people that just did some amazing things over at CIM. So it's cool. And we'll get deep into that. But first, let's talk a little bit about your journey. Where'd you start off running? When did you start it?
Yeah, I think so. I will fast forward pretty quickly, but I remember the very first race that I did was like a 1 mile race for an arts and crafts festival from my hometown. Never thought anything of it. And then we did a thing that's called I'm from a small town, and we had the mascot was called the Blue Streak. We used to do this Blue Streak mile, which was like a mile and a half or so. And I think doing that in the arts and crafts, I realized that I was a decent runner, and I had one of the quote unquote fastest times by doing that. However, I was more of a what are the cool kids doing? What are my friends doing at the
Uh-huh.
time? So I didn't really pay much attention to running. I actually played football and basketball and kind of was forced to run track because you needed to stay in shape for football.
That
And
makes sense.
so I did track. I ran track rather, and had some fun. I did 4x8. I did the 800. That's where 4x1, 4x2. It's a smaller town, so you could play three sports. You could
Yeah.
um, be a part of multiple things that I would say bigger states are not as accustomed to. You kind of pick your lane.
What state
But
were you in? Where was this?
yeah, I was born in Kansas and grew up in
Okay.
Kansas.
Okay. Cool. I remember one time I ran the 800 in high school, and I think I was a junior or senior or whatever, and I never ran it before. And I got first place. I beat
Let's
everybody
go.
by barely. And I was like, I felt like the shit. And I wasn't. That time I couldn't believe it. So it was fun. But anyways, I
That's
digress.
awesome. Yeah, the 800 is not fun. It is fun. It's a grueling 400
It's
meters,
tough.
very tough race. But then you do it twice and it's almost at
Hmm.
the same speed, or at least it was for me. I think the
Yeah.
fastest I ever ran a 400 was like a 50 or 50 and a half or so.
It's pretty good.
The 800, I started running that race. They wanted me to continue to run longer distances. I didn't really want to do that. I didn't get into that until a little bit later, but I would run the 800. My senior year, I don't know. I think it was just good coaching, maybe some genetics, some hard work, whatever. But my senior year, I was undefeated in the 800 until state,
Wow.
and then got second place in state. And so that's my claim to, at least for me, from my hometown, kind of claim to fame, if you will, of getting a podium at
That's
state.
state. Do you remember
Yeah.
the time that you ran or no?
Yeah, it wasn't my fastest time. I actually was in like eighth or ninth place after the first lap. And then,
Wow.
yeah, I just kicked the last 300 meters, which is fun race. I wish we'd had some footage of it, but I just
Especially
remember,
the last 300. It's just
yeah,
fun to watch, man. Like when you're
yeah,
watching like the Olympics and stuff, and I'm always watching reels, kind of people kicking and kind of at the last three or 400, and you're like, holy cow.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. The last Olympics was amazing, just watching
Hmm.
everybody grit it out. And that's what the 800 is. It's who's just basically, there's talent involved, but I would just say it's a lot of
Sure.
like heart too, right? It's just like who can push
Yeah.
through the pain, which I think maybe is why I liked it and hated it at the same time. But my time was, I think it was like 2:01. So not, it's definitely fast, not anything crazy fast. My fastest ever, I think, was like a 1:59.5 or something like that. But I look back with, I wouldn't say regret, but I would change some things if I was
Of
smart.
course.
I would have done trained differently, but
I just
yeah.
think most of us as kids, high schoolers, just don't know. We don't care.
Yeah.
And then you look back as man, if I was just 22 again and I worked as hard as I did in the marathon half or whatever, just think how fast I could have been at 22, 20, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yep.
But I wasn't. As a
Yep.
matter of fact, I wasn't running until I was 37.
Oh,
You can't,
really?
you,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yes. But it's not about me, but I think that there's just some people that just get running later in life. And so you did the 800 in high school and you're pretty good and get second. Going to state is pretty darn good. So that's pretty impressive to get second no matter what state you're in. So what was next? Did you stay into running after high school or?
Yeah, technically I did. I say technically because I signed a scholarship. I had offers for football and basketball. I signed an
Oh,
offer of
well,
intent for football. I think it was like January, February, whatever like the signing day type was. So I did that. And then it got closer and closer towards the end of the school year. And I was like, I just don't know if I want to go there. I don't know if I want to
hmm,
go play football. I don't know if it's just with my friends. I was honestly like a confused 17-year-old kid. I didn't know what I was doing. Maybe that's relatable, maybe not. But
I'm sure it is.
yeah, I didn't know what I was going to do. So I just continued to talk to my mom and just more so pray about what do I do here.
Yeah.
And at that point, I hadn't even chosen a college. I was like, all right, where am I going to go? And I think it was like the last week you could possibly register for school. I decommitted to college to play football. And my mom basically took me to an adjacent town where there's a really good track and field program and said, hey, look, this is, you guys were recruiting him earlier this year. Have you filled the spots? And they're like, you can always make the team, basically. And I got scholarship, luckily. I think for the first 2 weeks, I got scholarship. And it's like, if you don't make it, you don't make it. But I got scholarship and then made the team, which was awesome. Great experience. I got to run with a couple of Olympians, which was awesome. So that's pretty
Well, get a
cool.
scholarship in what? Like what races and what
Yeah,
part of the track?
800,
Oh,
800, and 1,500, and then
okay.
in those, they actually realized, like, "Hey, look, you should try some longer,"
Hmm.
and I never really recorded anything, but I did do a time trial for my coaches because I was gonna have to sub in for the mile, and on a whim, I ran, like, a 4:40 mile, and they're like, in high school, and they're like, "Okay, that's not bad, let's look into that," but I just continued to do longer stuff in college, so that was kinda like the stepping stone.
So that's interesting that you decommitted football and just thought everything and just decided to go into track. It's a rare thing.
I would say so. I honestly I'd have no regrets about that. I think I made the right decision
Yeah,
because I was 5'9", 175, and yeah,
sure.
pretty strong, pretty fast. But getting into college football, like I would have
Be
been
rough.
fine. But yeah, I was probably the best at football, but I
Hmm.
had the most potential probably in running is the way I started to look at
Yeah.
things.
Did you play running back or what? Wide receiver? What?
Slot and corner. So I did a lot
Oh,
of
okay.
running,
You
did a little
just
bit of
played
receiving, but
defense. Got it. That's at least you didn't have the ball much, so you wouldn't have got tackled a lot. But I'm sure you could
yeah.
hit people, but that's all right. So you go to college and you get a scholarship for track and do the 800, and it sounds like a mile and things like that. There's not much. There's a 2 mile. I don't, what do they actually have in college? They have cross country, which is like 4 miles or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. Did you ever
Never
think
did
about
cross
that or no?
country.
Okay.
Never did cross country.
Never was interested in that.
No, and that's again, the coaches continue to ask me to do it. They're like, "Hey, you're on the
Oh.
team for track and field. You should do cross country." And I was like, I think I just wanted to hang out with my friends and to do
Mm,
other things that was like not necessarily sports. Sports were basically it was nice because I got some scholarships and I got paid for school, so like I was making some money,
yeah.
which was cool. But yeah. So that was, like, my first year. My second year, I actually went back to my like, to an adjacent town. So these are all adjacent towns in Southeast Kansas. I went there, and then I transferred to KU, so the
Okay.
University of Kansas,
Yeah.
and tried out, made that team. My track and field coach from Coffeyville, which is the original kind of school that I went to my freshman year, and I should have stayed there for 2 years. I just
Mm,
different decisions, different paths. But I made the
that's just
team.
life, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's fork in the road, if you will.
Yeah.
But I made the team at KU the very first or the very first cross country meet because I had never ran before. I remember
Mm,
sitting with the coach and he was like, "So what's the most mileage you run per week?" And I was like, "Maybe
5 or 10?
20."
Oh,
Yeah, like 20 would be like a very long week or something
yeah.
like that. He's, "Oh, okay, so let's try this out." The very first day we ran 6 miles, and I
Oh,
was like, "Okay, cool, that's not too bad." He's, "Let's just start warm up. We'll
yeah.
do,"
Oh,
we were
no.
gonna get to so many other, I would say, levels, if you will. But yeah, there's a guy, his name is, I think it was Stanley Redwine was the coach, and he's like in the KU kind of Hall of Fame now. But he told me, he's, "Look, if you can make this right, then I know you're going to put in the work to make everything happen." But so great coach, great mentor, went through all the signing of the paperwork and did it all myself because I was not on scholarship yet, made
Mm,
the team. And then both of my parents, so this was in 2010, I believe, 2009, 2010, or maybe 11. I have to look at the school year, but
somewhere around there.
somewhere around there. And what happened was unfortunate at the time. Both of my parents, within a couple of months, had basically lost their jobs. And so
Oh,
my option was either drop out of school, which I
mm,
didn't want to do at the time, education, but also it's just fun to be in college, or go to work and pay my way through school. And that's where I paid my way through school, didn't
okay.
ever do anything with the track team. And then I started doing some road races type of stuff. But that was like my college journey, if you will.
Okay. That's always there's always forks in the road, and at least you finished college and did all that.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, there is. They took
you
my
know,
money
and
for sure.
yeah, they always will. That's all right. So you finished college and it didn't work out probably the way you wanted it. Worked out fine
Mhm.
where you are today. But so what happened after that?
Yeah, I started to do some 5Ks and
Mm,
just continue to run to work out. Honestly, to be transparent, and at some point, my daughters may listen to this podcast who are much more younger than anything else. That so I share with them, but I would really just use it as like a way to stay in shape enough, or to, if I went out the night before, just sweat out alcohol to stay like
mhm.
sharp throughout school. So I did a couple of those
Yeah,
things. I
that's
was also
good.
literally, that's just the truth.
That's just
Uh,
normal college behavior.
yes, yeah.
So
I don't do that anymore. I enjoyed
yeah,
college enough for probably most of my life. We'll just say that.
that's good.
But I was dumb. Also, there's probably many things you can pull away from this podcast of me being not the smartest. But the thing
Do
that I
tell.
had was, I would say, a level of stubbornness, because my freshman year in college, I decided, hey, there's a half marathon. I don't know why, but there's a half marathon in Tulsa. Let me train for this. I asked my coach, and like, hey, can I go run this? And he's like, sure. How many miles are you running per week? And I was like doing the math and whatever else, because I didn't have a Garmin. I just had a total
Yeah.
time and mapped it out. I was like, total time, I think it's this. And he's okay. The longest I ever ran was, I think, 5.5, 6 miles up until that half. And I remember my mom picking me up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, driving me to Tulsa to Jinx to sign up for this Route 66 race, and ran
Well,
my
that's
first
nice of
half
her.
marathon there. And I was like in basketball shorts and
Yeah.
almost just horrible shoes. So I technically did run a half marathon on no clue what I was doing.
You hopefully you learned. You probably didn't even learn anything either, right? Like, cause
What pain felt like.
yeah, that's, man, I've heard people doing marathons. Like I remember this one guy telling me, it was on the podcast, and he was like, I just went out and he did a 50 miler just to say I did it. I thought to myself, that's the dumbest thing. Like, why would you do that? Like, I'm not trying to say you don't do dumb things sometimes. To me, I'm thinking, man, you're gonna get injured, hurt. Why would you put yourself through that kind of brutality? Half marathon's a little different. It's not that bad, but it's still gotta be rough if all you ran was 6 miles.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the long run. I actually went back at the time to look back at the time, because I think then I was just like, sweet, I finished a half marathon. And the time actually surprised me more than anything, because I was like, okay, maybe there is potential with this, or maybe I do have
What
some
was the time?
natural. I think it was like a 1:31 or something like that.
Dang!
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy for your
Yeah.
first, and wow. Okay,
Yeah.
wow. I'm not surprised, but like
Yeah.
that's fast for somebody that wasn't even in shape at all.
Yeah.
All right.
Basketball shorts, great idea to use for running a half marathon for
Crappy
everybody.
shoes, I'm sure.
Oh, man. They were probably my lawn mowing shoes, if we're gonna be honest here. It's like,
High tops.
yeah.
Like basketball shoes, basketball shorts.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
MP3 player, I know for sure. I was holding that in my hand, the MP3 player in my hand with the corded headphones, what I got
Yep,
right now. But yeah, when you're young, you
that's
can do
awesome.
stuff like that and it doesn't
And
phase
running
you as much.
131.
Yeah.
Think about that. 131 is not slow at all. Maybe what you're doing today, okay, you could easily do a 130, but most people would die to just get a 131
Yeah.
in general. Once, and especially for the first time and running just a few miles, 6 miles at the max, and certainly not in shape. That's wild. So you do you do one half or whatever. You finish college, and so then what? What happened?
Yeah. I would say that I moved to Dallas, a series of events here at that point. I had a really nice job offer. I think it was like May 3rd. Actually, I don't think it was May 3rd. May 3rd, I had a really nice job offer. And then, like, job of my dreams, whatever else. They told me everything. They're sending over the paperwork, and I think it's like, yeah, the 5th. So then May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, I get in an accident. It's my fault. I didn't see a person. Totaled my car, and because of that, I couldn't take the job. It was at Interstate Batteries here in Dallas. And then I was like, okay. Tried to apply for a bunch of other positions, but still ended up coming down to Dallas. My girlfriend at the time, now wife, was down here as well. So that was another kind of like reason to come down. But I
Made
came
more
here in
sense.
was it 2013 or so? And I was just
Yeah.
running because I literally had no friends, like nobody I knew. I had
Mm.
absolutely nobody I knew in Dallas. And I told myself, I remember it was like one like day in the summer, it was like maybe August or so. And I ran outside and it was like raining. And I was like, if I can run without stopping for 9 miles now, I haven't done that for a long time, but if I can run 9 miles, I can run a marathon. So for whatever reason, yeah, please make that make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. You probably ran like a 3:05 when you did it. Anyways, go ahead.
If I can run 9 miles, I can run a marathon. If you remember Dallas at all, Dallas 2013 marathon was canceled.
Yeah,
And
I
so
do
I
remember it.
spent forever training for this thing, had no clue, pulled out a Hal Hidgen kind of training
Did you
plan.
go do
I think
Big
it's
D?
do what?
Did you do Big D instead? Do
I did
you remember that
Cowtown.
one? Oh,
I
okay.
do remember Big D, yeah. I heard that
Yeah,
was not a very
that was
favorable
terrible.
course either.
That's the one I did because Dallas Marathon was canceled, and so it
Mhm.
was my first marathon, and I did Big D. I did okay, but I remember it was just like afterwards, there's no food or hardly any drinks. It's a small cup, and I'm like, man, this place sucks. But anyways,
Was it in
yeah,
Irving? I can't remember. I knew remember
no,
the
no,
name,
no,
but
I
I don't.
was in Dallas.
Okay.
I forgot where, but I forgot. I did
Yeah.
it. I did it once, and then I paced a 4:30 once, and
Okay.
I decided never to do another marathon for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say from many of the podcasts I heard, you're like, nah, nah. I'm just gonna half marathons are fun.
Yeah, I like it, and I can do a lot of them if I want.
Yeah,
You're in shape ish, right? For Dallas. Dallas was canceled because of the weather, and then you trained for it, or what happened?
I just continued to run, and I was like, where? What am I gonna sign up for? I remember frantically like looking on the computer because one, I was
Mm,
22 years old and was didn't have a lot of money, so I was like, I can't fly somewhere. I now want to run this marathon because it's like the thing that I've been building up and doing and whatever else, and
yeah,
I did all the training myself, which looking back at it was not like crazy rigorous, but for me to go from nothing to, I think the
yeah.
longest I ever ran was like 17 or 18 miles. I did 35 miles at like my peak, which, yeah, I know. Like this
Well,
guy.
it's at least
Uh,
half doable. No, at
yeah,
least it's something, you know?
yeah. All my friends now left because it's like I'm still the lower mileage guy. I just like
Yeah.
fly under the radar with the mileage. But no, I had no clue how to fuel and had no clue what to
Mm,
do at all for Cowtown or just a marathon in general. Just probably like a lot of people, there just wasn't a lot of information out there about
that's right.
what do you do and how do you do this. And
Oh,
I remember running that
you were doing
race.
by yourself? You're still
Yeah,
running by yourself in 2000, so you didn't have anybody to guide you, nothing, it was just making
nothing.
stuff up at the fly. Okay, got it.
Yep. I think I still have it. It's like in a folder of what my training plan was. I just put it on my wall. It said, all right, cross training today, 3 miles today, six
Okay.
miles tomorrow. And I just remember coming back after a long run and my wife would give me like food because I barely took any
Mm,
goo or anything. I didn't train with it. That's what actually
yeah,
really messed with me on the run is it gave me GI issues because I'd never had goo before and
yeah.
rocked my world. And then it got hot.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it was tough. I
And it
think.
was Cowtown. So Cowtown's
Mhm.
not, I love Cowtown, but it's not an easy course.
No. Yeah, I love it too. I love doing the halves there. I don't know if I'll ever
Yeah,
do the full
same.
again, but I love the half.
Was that the only time you ever did the full?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
I've done the half many times since then, but yeah,
Yeah,
only the full one
same.
time.
I've done it like 10 years in a row or something like that.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. I don't like driving all the way to Fort Worth, but it's a great race. Well, how'd you do the first one then? So it sounds like you did poorly.
So I thought, I was like, cool. Is everybody who trains for a marathon should be able to qualify for Boston? That's cool. So I was going for that. I didn't know
Okay.
you had to go faster than the time. So I think the time standard at that point was 3:05. At mile 22, I think I had it. And then I
Oh, wow.
ran, I think it was like mile 24. I was just absolutely dead, just barely alive. But I ran a 3:07 for the first one.
Jeez. Your
Um,
first marathon?
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Jeez. Okay. Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't think I walked for a week, honestly. That was tough.
I'm sure. Wow. This is okay. So you ran at 3:07, which is pretty impressive if you look back. I'm sure. How many people do you know running a 3:05, 3:07, their very first marathon? It's not. Maybe you know more people, but it's still pretty rare to just do that well and with as less training. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was
I
going to
mean,
say, I think I know people who have so much talent and then did do the training, I would say the right way, and who ran
yeah,
significantly faster than that.
sure.
But probably not as many people as who were naive to the space and did what I did in probably that time would be my
Yeah.
guess. Because yeah, it's just a you just
Well,
yeah.
there's this woman, she's 20 years old and her name's Jera. I don't know if you know who she is, but anyways, she runs with Pegasus and she's 20 and she trains though. She trains hard with what's his name? Anyways, with Fonz
Oh yeah.
and in the Pegasus group. And so her first marathon she ran in Dallas and ran at like a 3:05 and she was
Wow.
hoping for under a 3. But the point is, yes, it can happen. I'm not saying even if you have talent, it's very difficult if you don't train right. It's just a 3:05 is extremely fast. Let's just, for the most part, most people aren't running. Now, people you run with, when you're around those people, it's just a normal thing. Yeah, that's no problem. But in general, population, very small percentage of people are running that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so to even get that fast without proper training or hardly any training, it shows one, you get a lot of ability, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But obviously, you're already telling me what you're running in the half and fulls. So you run this, you don't get Boston, but you get pretty close. So
Yeah.
what were you thinking? Were you like, oh man, I got to do something different, or I don't want to do this again, or what?
No, I think after that week is more of a I'm just very, I would say, goal driven or focused, if you will. So I'm like, I have to get this. It took me a long time. My first Boston wasn't until 2019, and it wasn't for a lack of
Okay.
effort. It was
Yeah.
for, I would say, to not get into every marathon, but it's like there was pivotal races that just training didn't line up, and I didn't know
Mm.
why, wasn't fueling properly. So I just did a lot of stuff that was just like, if anybody listens to the podcast, like, just if you know what the problem is, go solve for that problem. I knew what the problem was, and I just was stubborn and didn't fix the problem.
And it was fueling.
Yeah, fueling, and honestly, I would say a little bit of volume. I didn't need a
Mm.
ton of volume, honestly, to get my BQ, but it was the fueling. Yeah, it really messed with me. Now I only take the chomps, like
Yeah.
the gummy looking things, so those have really helped me. But yeah, it was the fueling, and I just kept every time during a race, like hitting a wall because I would stop fueling because it would just knock
Mhm.
me out. And so then by
Yep.
that point, my stamina and everything else was fine, but just my muscles would lock up.
Yeah, that's obviously fueling and maybe lack of drinking kind of
Yeah.
stuff, you know?
Oh yeah. I didn't know you needed to stop at every water stop. Now I don't miss it. But it's, yeah. Oh no, I'm not thirsty. Why should I drink any water?
Yeah, or electrolytes or something.
Yes.
I carry a water bottle. My wife calls it a sippy because I could run a 5K and I run with my sippy.
There you go. It's your
So
security blanket. There you go.
sometimes it gets hot in Dallas. And so when you're running in the summer, I get thirsty, man. And so a few times I didn't have my water bottle and I've just felt like crap, even after 5 or 10, whatever, half. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just carrying this thing. So I just got used to it. All right, so 2019, you're still not making it, not doing it. What was the breakthrough?
Yeah. The breakthrough cost me $10,000 is what the breakthrough was. So
Jeez.
yeah, you're
Do
probably familiar
tell.
because you were on, and I think you were talking to Madeline Rouse, and you guys were
Uh-huh.
talking about the Rebel half marathon, I think, because you got a PR there.
Yeah.
So I ran that
Good
race in
good memory.
27. Do it? Oh yeah, I was gonna say, see, I listen.
I guess so.
But I ran that race in 2017, and I passed out at mile 26 of 26.2. Literally passed out. They carried me to the side. I was projectile vomiting.
Which
They,
Rebel? The
yep, mm-hmm,
Rebel Utah
yep,
or
yep, yeah,
okay,
mm-hmm,
yeah.
in
Oof.
Sandy,
That's
yeah.
a yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, so it warmed up. The start of the race was like 40 degrees, and then by the time
Yeah.
you got down to mile 18 or so, it was
Mhm.
hot. It was like 70 and dry, and just again fueling, legs cramped up. I just remember waking up to the paramedic asking me if I'm okay, and I just tell him like, "Stop my watch." And like true story, I was like, "No, stop my watch." And he's, "We're not going to do that right now." He carries me over to the side. My wife, it was just her and I there, and she was like, "What's going on?" He should have crossed the finish. She couldn't find me. She couldn't find me. And then she came over to the medical tent and she like dropped because my eyes were closed. I was, again, projectile vomiting. I was completely dehydrated. And then they weren't like, I don't know how long I was unconscious or whatever for, but they're just like, "Look, we got to take you by ambulance." So I went by
Yeah,
ambulance to Intermountain Health. I remember it because I owed them a lot of money
I'm sure.
because it was out of network. And I was like, "Please don't
Mm,
take me in the ambulance." But anyway, they did an echocardiogram because they thought I could have had a minor heart attack. But yeah, that was a race. And I was going to run a 2:58 there. I was 200 meters away from running
no.
under sub 3.
Oh,
So that cost me 10 grand, but was also motivating. And so the following 6 months, I just continued to train and finally ran Eugene. I was in the best shape of my life. I was running at that
mm,
time probably 55, 60 miles a week. I knew I could
okay.
run it. The downside for Eugene was, and being in the Northwest anyway, is that it rains a lot. And
Yeah.
so we were under like a torrential downpour for literally 12, 14 hours in
Jeez.
2018. So I think it was like end of April, beginning of May 2018, downpour. And I just remember, oh, man, what can I do? I went to the store, to Dick's or Sporting Goods, and I got some spray, which I still have a bottle of, honestly, in my garage. And I sprayed the outside of my shoes to basically make them waterproof. So, like, at least my shoes wouldn't be like soaked.
Yeah.
And that race starts at 7 in the morning. Out of nowhere, like at 5 in the morning, the rain stops. It's like really good weather, probably like 40 degrees weather. And yeah, I stopped looking at my watch and I just ran and had the best race of my life. I thought, I was like, wow, how could I ever do this again? And I think I ran like a 250, 253.
Wow.
Yeah. So big
Now,
PR. It was
yeah.
amazing.
Did you figure out how to fuel finally or
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
That's a big part of it. So temperatures were better. And
Yeah.
also I learned how to
That
fuel.
helps.
So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, great. I wasn't sweating out I didn't need as many electrolytes, but I also was like, all right, every 30 minutes, no matter what, I'm going to take a full goo or a goo, the chomps basically. And that was the key for me.
When did you get to know people? Like, when did you start running with people?
Yeah, I met some Luke's crew right after my first marathon. So I
Okay.
met Shirley, which I know you had her on. I attribute a lot of connections and just a lot of my running to her anyway. So
Wow.
whatever she
She's
needs,
amazing.
I will always give something to Shirley.
Love that.
But I met Emily Pruitt and Dirk Wattis and a lot of these people who were running at Luke's, because when I ran that Cowtown race, I saw this guy. He was running pretty fast, and it's Luke's Locker, and I was like, "Whoa, what's this Luke's Locker? Somebody could be sponsored." And I was
Yeah.
like, "I wonder if I'm fast enough to be sponsored." So I remember driving down to Dallas and meeting with the team there, and they're like, "All right, what are your times? Did you ever do anything here?" And I submitted all of those, talked to the team, and like they put me on like Team Luke's, which was awesome. And
Yeah.
so I got connected to people up in Plano because that was closer for me, and would drive quite a distance to go meet up with them for a run. But I almost missed everything actually, because that morning people were going out for a run and it was a lot of people, which for me is completely fine, but I wasn't going to drive to run like basically a 10-minute mile, at least
Yeah.
for me. Nothing against that. But I ran 3 miles with these people and I was like, I want to run more than 3 miles, and I only got like 45 minutes. So I can't run with these people, unfortunately. But there was a girl who showed up. She was much faster and probably even faster than me at the time. And she introduced me to everybody, got me into this community of people, and then expanded and turned into Plano Running Club.
Mm,
And it was like us, and so it was like me and Dirk and Emily and Shirley and the old fathers, and we basically all met up in Legacy West, and Shirley
mm.
obviously talked about it too, and just basically created a running group from that. And so I got pulled along into this. I was the young guy. I was like, I think I'd finally turned like 23, and these people were
Yeah,
all like 33, 43, 53. So I was the young guy just showing up with all these people teach me how to run basically.
I love that. That's awesome. So you get into this group and start hanging out and learn, I'm sure, a ton of stuff. Because I remember Shirley just saying, basically, I just wanted to run with people. That's the only reason I even created this group. Because
Yep.
it was for a selfish reason. And come to find out, so does everybody else.
Yep.
And that's the beauty about running. And that's really the beauty about DFW is these running groups, and you've heard me say this 1,000 times, it's exploded. And it's because there's a lot of them are specific to the needs of these runners. Like Sloths run fast in general.
Hmm.
Pegasus is pretty fast, pretty
Yeah.
darn fast, but not sloth fast per se. But it's all mingled
Yeah.
in summary. But then you've got other groups that some are fast, some aren't. I just want to hang out, those kinds of things. And so it's a beautiful thing nowadays. Over the last, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, it's just exploded. So you do this marathon. So you finally know you get to Boston. Let's talk a little bit about Boston, and then we'll get to your recent race. But tell me a little bit about your first Boston and when you went to there.
Yeah.
Unless you want to talk about something else before.
No, I was gonna say Boston for me was let's just say tragedy would describe it probably the best.
Jesus, man,
Uh,
you're tragic. Stop.
yes. If there's one thing is that I'm very stubborn or anything else, but Boston's for everybody who knows or doesn't know, Boston starts later. So
Yeah.
fueling has always been my Achilles heel.
Mm.
Because Boston started later, I didn't know what to eat. So I was like, do I eat a full meal? Do I not eat a full meal? Do I eat a
Yeah, you
partial
do.
meal? Am I going to
Right.
starve? Whatever.
Yeah.
So I ate too much. I also didn't know I didn't know
Yeah.
where to stay. I didn't know what time to
Mm.
wake up. I didn't know any of that. I was trying to look for things online, and I had a good idea, but I was going to Boston by myself. It was like,
Yeah.
honestly, my grandma came, my parents came, my sisters came, tons of people came, but nobody I knew running. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I don't know who to ask. I don't know what to do. But anyway, I think without getting into too much TMI, but I went to, by mile 13, I went and stopped at the bathroom 10 times.
Jeez.
Literally.
Wow.
Yes. It was so tragic is I think by mile 15, I was
10?
finally like, yeah, 10 times. I think by
That's
mile
crazy.
15, if you look at my race, it's like the pace was like here. And then just after mile 15, when I was finally like, okay, I can actually run,
You're
my
fine.
pace dropped dramatically and I did really
Yeah.
well. But yeah,
What'd you get overall? Curious.
I think my time there was like 3:04 or something.
It's not bad.
Yeah, no, it was, I always thought, and you probably right get people who think that too, is like every race has got to be a PR. It's got to be better
Oh,
than the
yeah,
last race.
of
So I think
course.
from my head, I was like 2:53. I should be doing sub
Yeah.
2:50 now, and then to run a 3:05
It's
or
still pretty
3:04.
impressive now that you went to the bathroom like 10 times.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
Shout out.
know,
I paid for the whatever the application fee was in porta potty use for sure.
trying to find a porta potty that many times is gonna be rough.
They had one every mile, which thank goodness.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
they
good.
did.
Okay, did you ever go back to Boston and just redeem yourself a little bit? Let's get to that.
Yeah, so I would say I did well in 21 with little training, but it's kind of that was actually probably the most fun.
Yeah.
And then I don't think that was really redemption. I did run a good time there. I think I ran like a 2:47 or something.
Okay.
But that was fun because it's the only Boston that was ever in the fall. So love that.
Yeah,
Cool experience.
October. Yeah.
But 2025 we had a great group, to your point, the Sloths, a lot of Pegasus, just great training partners, people who helped me along the way. And so Boston to me was a huge breakthrough of, okay, what's possible for me? And so I
Yeah.
ran like a 2:37 there.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that. That was impressive. And I thought, wow, I was I didn't know you. I've seen you run and stuff like that, and I was like, dang, Aaron is like really fast. Like, I knew I was thinking you're gonna hit 240s or something, and then when you hit the 237, I looked, I was like, wow. Okay, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, congrats on that, man. Running
Thank you.
Boston that fast is really probably not an easy thing.
Yeah.
But you've been training pretty hard. And what I want to do now is let's talk about your last CIM, this last race that was not all that long ago, just a few weeks ago or less. And I kind of want to go step by step. As you start training for CIM, there's a big group of slots and mostly slots, I think, that went. And walk me through that and just how everybody got together and said, hey, we want to do this. And from your perspective, and then your training cycle, how did it look? And what'd you learn from the last year or so from different things like fueling, et
Yeah.
cetera?
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm more of a and even from the last kind of podcast for Boston, I'm more here for the community and just having
Uh-huh.
fun with my friends. So a lot of times people are like, "Hey, look, what's next? We just finished a race. What do we want to
Yeah.
do?" And then people are like, "I don't know. I've always thought about CIM. I've always thought about this." And then once it gets going, it's just chatter, and it's like, "All right, we're committing to this." And so group of people say, "Yep, I'm going to run CIM." And for whatever reason, actually, we've never actually all ran a race together. We've all trained together for a lot, but we've never
Yeah.
actually ran a race together. So that's what was so great about CIM and just the way that this hunt unfolded. But yeah, we started to do just normal summer of strength type of stuff, and with Maddie and Eric and I and Jennifer, that's like I would say a core group basically, is the four of us. So we figured out stuff for CIM. Training was pretty much follow. Eric and Jennifer are like the meticulous, what is the training plan?
Mm.
Maddie is very much like, where are the fast people? I want to push myself to be the
Yeah.
faster
That's
one.
exactly what she said. Yeah.
And then I am like a combination between Eric and Jennifer. My
Mm.
stamina is not as good as Jennifer's. Jennifer can do that part. Eric is a combination of both, I would say Jennifer and I. And then I would say I'm more
Mm.
fast twitch and less stamina. And so we complement each other really well. And that training cycle to me was probably the best buildup I've ever done. That's the longest or highest mileage that I've ever done. But we did most of it in less than favorable weather, where it's very
Mm.
warm. As just in Dallas this
Yeah.
last fall is just extremely warm. But we hit every single workout. I would say there really wasn't any workout that I failed, which stinks. Maybe it's more of a I should have pushed myself a little bit more. But I
So I
remember,
did see
go-
you guys several times in Lake Highlands High School, a
yeah,
few times, and seeing you just killing it. I was like, dang, man, these guys are really just killing their workouts. And this is summertime, right?
yeah.
And so I remember that. And I remember, yeah, so I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Just it's just really running and tracing around with friends. It's so much easier
Yeah.
to do with friends. I will say that. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, the toughest workout that we had, which is to me the confidence booster for me to
Mm.
say, okay, I'm in good shape. I'm in really good shape. Is it's basically 3 miles at MP, 1 mile T times three. So what is it?
Mm.
4, 12. It's basically 15 miles. So four, and I guess maybe four sets. Anyway, they'll get on to me for not knowing exactly what it is. But
Well,
anyway,
tell me what
they
that
all,
means, just for others that might not know.
yeah.
MP
So
is marathon pace, right?
yeah. So MP for us at that time, we were trying to hit around 5:55 ish for that. It was warmer in Dallas that day, and then T is more of the threshold. Basically, can go lactate or can you push yourself to a different level, if you will?
Okay. And you do that a mile, like per three different times.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, like I said, it ended up being basically 15 total miles like that. We did it leading up to Boston. It was great. We had our whole crew. They did this workout. So Jennifer and Eric and I think Jeff and I think maybe Barron was out there too and did part of it because he was doing Dallas at the time and or did Dallas and we were doing CIM. So a little bit off, but
Yeah.
they did the workout. It was a little bit humid here. I was up in Kansas
Mm.
dreading this workout because it was one solo, two, this is when it was super humid and raining. So I did the whole workout in the rain by myself. It
Jeez.
was like, at the end of it, I had my mom to give me a ride back home, but my town is not that big. It's 10,000 people. So I
Yeah.
ran basically the whole town. It's dark, it's raining. And so
Way to go,
tough
though,
workout.
man. Dedication.
Yeah, it was
But how'd
tough.
you feel though from it? Did you feel pretty confident or no?
Yeah, I ran those 24 miles solo. So I did the first file of more warm up, switched shoes, and then did, because it was a 24-mile workout, and then I did the next 19, with the faster shoes on, if you will. But
Yeah.
that 24 miles, even including warm up, I was like 24 miles. I did like a 6:06 pace. So it's,
Oh.
yeah, I felt good. The weather wasn't greatest. I did it solo. And that's really what gave me the confidence to say, okay, maybe I can really hit the goals that I want to hit.
Mhm.
And this is possible if I push myself at this point.
Would you push to your goal? What was your goal going in?
Yeah. Goal was 234
Okay.
XX,
Oh, that's
anything
right. That's
below
right. Yeah.
235.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
So close.
Yes.
Anyways,
So close.
I was looking at your Instagram and obviously Jennifer's and Eric's, and you guys, it looked like you guys ran together a lot of that race or the whole race, got very close times that were
Yeah.
very similar. So that was pretty impressive. Walk me through that kind of at the beginning of CIM. You get there. What did that look like? What are you thinking? How are you feeling? Are you hanging out with anybody? Does your family go with you? Is it just you? And tell me that whole thing before the race, and then let's get into the race.
Yeah. It's funny because there's a group chat amongst friends. Basically, everybody else took American Airlines. I took Southwest, and it was like me and Dustin and Landon and Joel. We all got on Southwest. And ironically, the American Airlines people had some trouble. So we ended up all landing roughly about the same time. This is
American
the
Airlines
first
been through that a
race.
lot lately. But anyways,
Yeah. Yeah. But this was the first race. My wife is pregnant, so we're having
Mm.
another baby at the end of January.
Oh,
So
wow,
she was like,
awesome.
I don't know if traveling with, we have two other ones, and then this
Yeah,
one is just going to be a lot. We're going to be
it'll be
doing
rough.
stuff that's going to probably throw off the race a little bit for you. So I went by myself, unfortunately. Didn't know where I was going to stay or what I was going to do. Ended up rooming with Eric Bretl, which to me was amazing because we had our own separate rooms, separate bathrooms, hotel. Like
Yep.
we
Oh,
trained together, stayed
yeah.
together. So that was awesome. And Lee, going into this, when we landed, it's like the weather was perfect. It was like 35 degrees, 40 degrees
Mm.
or something like that, no wind. And so now it's just like we put in the work. Now it's time to basically show up. And the dinner a couple of nights before, the dinners before, like we were meeting up with Maddie and Mel, me and Eric. Jennifer, because she's an elite, she got her own little thing and avoided us. But we all ate together, showed up on the bus together, sat together. And so that was really fun to just basically show up as a pack, to show up to the expo, to have the group, to have the community. We all went to brunch together, did
Any
the,
like quick story? Because that's funny that I'm talking to you right now because I just got done talking to Maddie, Mel, and Grace. I don't know if it was yesterday or day before. I don't, it wasn't that long ago.
yeah.
And they had a story of they cooked dinner that night. They didn't go out. This is the night before the race and just had a lovely evening together with the girls and just to them it was special. There was to what Maddie said, she goes, we learned our lesson from last time to where we didn't bring our kids or
Mm,
husbands, but they think they're husbands at the end. But the point is that maybe that was part of doing so well is because they didn't have the distraction of kids. Because when Maddie went to Boston last year, she had her kids and one threw up on her, all these things. So it's harder to deal with. But anyways, the point is like she had a story, and I don't know anything that stands out that you can think of. I know you with the community, hanging out with the guys, scouts, whatever, having dinners. Any
yeah.
story or two with that?
It was fun. I would say, just in general, it was fun because Eric's room and Eric and I sharing a room was basically like the communal place where everybody
Mm,
met up in general. But we were just sending kind of like funny pictures back and forth because Eric and I were like, like the girls had their own kind of evening or whatever. I got pasta. Eric was always eating his DiGiorno pizza. And then we were like Normatec and
yeah,
we ended up watching Never Back Down, the movie, and like great soundtrack of fighting
mm.
kind of thing, motivating the night before the race.
Guys do
And
stuff completely different, don't we?
yeah,
It's
I don't know what they did.
most people at theater movies. So or whatever.
We were going to watch like Braveheart or Gladiator or
Yeah,
something, but they're like too long of a movie. We're like, we got to go to bed.
we got to go to bed. Yeah,
Yes.
I love it.
But yeah, I think after the race was probably the cheat code for Eric and I. After the race, we
Mm,
basically went back, jumped in the hot tub, and that
mm,
was like the recovery fuel right there. Just cleaning, like I would say, getting rid of all the soreness in your muscles. You could actually walk again. It felt
yeah,
good there. But at the race, I'd say something that's cool now is there's a guy by the name of Truett Haynes. A lot of people know maybe
yeah.
his
I know
dad,
he is.
Cameron
Yeah,
Haynes. Yeah, running with the
they know
jeans.
Truett as well. So
Yeah. So he was after the race, he had ran, and Eric and I finished, and we basically both knew of him, just following what he had been doing, and went afterwards to go meet him, shake his hand. Super nice guy. He was asking how we were doing, and I was actually wearing one of his hats, the It's Just Pain hat. And so that was cool. We got into one of his Instagram posts. We are like, okay, cool. Like people had saw that and
You
messaged
should
and
tell him to
commented.
tag you so that way you get more friends that way.
Give us some exposure.
Yeah, exactly.
He also posted a recap. I think it was yesterday on YouTube. I was flying back from Denver, and we're in there. So it's like it's a pretty large UK based clothing brand, and then it was Truett, and we're actually 20 minutes into the video. Unless you don't know, but we made the video, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
As well. Yeah,
I'm gonna go watch it after this.
There you go.
For some of it, anyways. I'm gonna go 20 minutes in.
Yeah,
you guys.
Started 20 minutes or so. You'll see us.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about the race. So I just wanted to hear some fun. That's fun. So I appreciate you sharing that. And, remember that's what makes these fun is, yes, you get to go with the community. What are you doing with your community, with your friends and people? That's really there's some of the stories I want to hear. I also want to hear about the race recap from you as well. So race day comes, what happens?
Yeah, race day comes, we get on the bus, and Eric left before me because I was like, he's got to go check his bag. I wasn't going to do it. He was afraid I wasn't going to be able to meet up with him. Luckily, I found him in 5 minutes, so we're all good there. We rode the bus together, met up with Madeline, saw Maddie, got them in line with us. Basically, our whole group found each other.
By the way, I'm really excited to see how Madeline did because she was all worried and just wasn't sure. And so I was really excited about her time as well and how she did. And so it's I need to send her a message, but she kicked butt, so it was fun. Anyways, go ahead.
She was awesome. Yeah, she did great. Every single person that we ran with honestly did really well. So it's
which is unheard of.
Yes,
there's one or two people that just, but no, it's awesome.
Yeah. So the morning of, Eric and I start running together. He's yo-yoing back and forth. He just says whatever it is, it's easier for him because we were undulating back and forth. He was doing that, and we got up towards the front of the corral, if you will, of the first part of the corral. Jennifer was ahead of us. Our goal was to always, if we can, let's find Jennifer. She's not too far ahead of us. By mile 2, we had found her. It's funny because Jennifer said, oh, you guys caught us pretty quickly. And we're like, oh, yeah. And I said, yeah, we were going too fast there. Eric said, no, we weren't. We ran like a 6-minute, 5:59 miles. So we're not going too fast. And then we're just bickering. And then Jennifer's running with these other people who she knows nothing about. She's like, hey, these are my friends. And nothing's changed. We just were back for a run in Dallas around the lake. And we're just still, Eric and I are bickering about things. So we ran from mile 2 to basically 22 together with us. So me and Jennifer were mostly together there. Eric was with us, then go ahead and then behind us. And he was running his own race, which worked out really well for him. But I'm glad Jennifer was there to be with me and just let's stay steady.
Yeah.
Mile 10 though. So I had brought my speaker because I was like, look, if we're going to just treat this, like a little clip-on speaker to play some music.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And I was like, if we're going to treat this like what we always have, let's just go have fun. Let's turn on some music. When I get 13, 14 miles in, let's just jam out to some music if there's not too many people behind us, and let's just have fun because we're just out here. There's no responsibilities. We're just living in the moment type of thing. But mile 10, I went to go grab a goo and I dropped it. And Jennifer's like, no, don't worry about it. I'll get you another goo. And it wasn't my goo, it was my speaker. So I was like, oh no. Turned around really quickly. The road is slick. I missed it that morning. I fell down, had to run backwards to go grab it, grabbed it, then ran back forward. And she's, I would have given you a goo. I was like, it's the speaker. We needed the speaker. So I laughed at the time and I was like, how much time did I lose there? But I think it was about 40 seconds that I lost going back and then forth.
Yeah.
So not
of course
horrible, but a good chunk of time.
You still caught Jennifer, right? Back.
Yeah. I caught Jennifer and Eric.
So you probably stayed the same anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the only thing I would say now is maybe I expended too much energy catching them too quickly. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Probably.
But
the
race was solid.
You're hanging out with your friends.
Exactly.
You get back to them.
And they're like, just don't worry about it. I was like, no, we need the music. So
I love it.
Gotta have fun.
We gotta have fun. Love it.
Probably by mile 14, Jennifer, because I was like, I'll turn it on a little bit later because I didn't want to just mess with people. And I was like, I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody else wants to listen to anything yet. But Jennifer's like, hey, you going to turn on that music? I was like, oh, yep, here we go. So I turned on the music, and like several people around us, other elites, other people going for OTQ were like, oh, sweet, like awesome. People are
Yeah.
playing some music. So it was a good kind of experience, good vibe there. And I would say most of us felt pretty good. Eric, Jennifer, and I, after recapping afterwards, like we all felt decent there. Like our legs were a little
Yeah.
tired. But then by the time we got to mile 20 and then closer to the bridge, I think everybody was just like super tight muscles, like can't really
Mm.
push anymore. I thought Jennifer was going to push a little bit more. I mean, her expertise and her like forte is being able to just stay steady for a long period of time. But I thought maybe we could drop 5 seconds a mile and then all of us just go together and work off
Yeah.
of each other. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen that way. And Eric, at this point, I hadn't seen Eric for a little bit. He was
Mm.
behind us, but ended up like getting a second wind or something. And then, so Jennifer and I went ahead. Eric's a little bit behind. I went a little bit ahead of Jennifer, and then Eric caught Jennifer, and they split off towards the end. So they ran the final 3 miles together. It was like 26 or 25.5 of 26.2. And so
Mm.
they finished together. But we pretty much, the three of us, from mile 2 all the way to the end, ran this race together, just how we trained. And it was
Yeah.
honestly like a picture perfect of what do you want to see happen?
I love it, man. That's fun. Like what you guys did is just you raced as a team, you trained as a team, and you came and you guys were right there together the whole entire time. Wow, how fun is that? Would you say that was one of your best races ever? From a time wise, you ran a 2:35:02
2.
or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 2.
Oh, so that was pretty amazing. So besides that, was that would you say the best race you ever ran, or would you say maybe there's another one or two better
No, I would say honestly, yeah, and not just recency bias, but because of the lead up,
recent?
because of the because of like the hanging out with friends, the community. Like
Yeah.
I've recorded a lot of this training, and I recorded a lot of this. Sorry, this race, and as far as what people wanted to do, and just hearing goals and everything, and just the post race party. So it was like really everything. The beginning of the story, the rising action, if you will. Then you have this climax of the race, and then
Mhm.
afterwards, just to recap with your friends when everybody did well, so everybody's happy and everybody's talking through it.
Yeah.
That part is what I think made the race so fantastic, and it's going to be difficult to beat, honestly, because even
Yeah.
if we run a
Well,
faster time, just having the scenario of all of our friends there, we had from the Dallas area, there probably was 20 people or
yeah.
more, maybe. So
Well,
it was a
Pegasus
ton
did
of
that
fun.
with Indianapolis.
Yeah,
So I think there's something in the power of community and power. So you said post race party. What was that? I'm interested in the party part.
yeah, party part number one was Eric and I, we went to the hot tub while
Yeah.
everybody went to the bar. Then we all ended up
Oh,
at the
okay.
bar, and everybody did a recap of like how they
Mm.
did for the race, which we did do kind of like
And I
a
wasn't there to record it. Dang it.
yeah. We have I was gonna say we have video. I need to send you like footage and stuff to go off of.
You
But yeah, we
should. Maybe
have
I can push that into some of these videos that I'm doing.
yeah. Because I have everybody's before what their goal was, and then
Mm.
afterwards how they did, and yeah, it's just good. Lots of photos, lots of people cheering and having fun. Eric drinking from a 90-ounce boot or 30-ounce boot or something like that.
I've got to talk to Eric. I've
Yeah.
got to talk to him, man. I'll send a message to him after this.
I'll make sure to nudge him as well.
Okay.
He's a
He's hard.
character.
I talked to him once or twice and he didn't seem interested, but I'm not saying he wasn't, but it just didn't, it was like, so I'll get him on, or at least I'll push him. You push him a little bit. It'd be
There
fun
we
to
go.
hear his story too.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I missed that you wish that we should have covered? Anything that stands out?
I don't think so. I think we honestly covered quite a bit. And yeah, I was going to say, to your point, I think the last thing that one of the last things that you said, just going to reiterate or underline and bold, if you will, is that this was way more fun of a race because it's celebrating with people in the community way more than it would be solo if I had ran that time. So that part of it's huge. And it's, yeah, if you're in the DFW, finding a good community and a group to go and run with, that's what makes it, I would say, worth it.
I don't know if it was Matt Campbell that told me this or whatever it is, but whoever it was, and might have heard it on the podcast before, but this is your time, right? This is your time with your community, with your friends, because life changes. So enjoy what you guys did this one time. Not to say it won't ever happen again, but it's hard to recreate something like this again. You'll have good times and things like that, but this is when you were the best of your marathon training, but the community, people you run with all day, every day, life changes in a heartbeat, and who knows what's going to happen a month or two from now. So I love, and that's what it sounds like, a run of the life of a lifetime in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
And that's exciting to me. That pumps me up. Like hearing that, it's like, I can't wait to go run with some friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then go do this
Okay.
again with friends. And I think that's what it's about, is how do you continue to capture that? And it's hard. And I love that you guys did that. So congratulations on not just a
Yeah.
great
Thank you.
race, but also a great community of people having great races and getting to talk about it. How fun.
Absolutely.
That's exciting. Aaron, this has been good, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. This has been a blast.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel. Please rate and review us and go to our newsletter at dfwrunningtalk.substack.com. Until next time, Aaron, thanks again.
Thank you.